You're watching Oilersnation Radio.
I keep thinking today is Tuesday.
Let's not talk about it. I don't even know.
I went and did my hit with Low Tide today, and he goes, "How was your weekend?" And I almost answered it.
Yesterday we did Real Life, and I kept calling it the Monday episode of Real Life all day. You know? Now there's nation beards behind Dan's head right now, and I wish they were cold because I could use one.
It might be shaken depending on how many times I've hit my head.
Yeah, Dan does like hitting his head on that shelf.
Also, still a couple pieces of Christmas decor up. Also, a weird amount of space between me and Dan.
Yeah, I noticed you were looking over at me. I didn't know if I had let one rip and just...
No, I don't.
Tyler's still the Christmas elf back there. Liam's still up there.
All these gaps between us.
We are back to our regularly scheduled programming after the holiday break.
Barely.
Kind of. We'll see. We'll get there eventually. My brain's still on half cylinders. That Christmas elf always pouring nation beers in my cup, Liam.
That'll happen.
Nation Network is proud to present or partner with Odd Company Brewing to bring you the all new Nation Beer Everyday Lager, perfect for the next big game like today, or just your next go-to lager for any day of the week, provided that you can drink responsibly. Find it at both Odd Company locations here in Edmonton, or go to liquorconnect.com. It's a little search engine. You can find it at a liquor store near you. If it's not near you, ask them what they're doing with their life and why they're making poor choices, because it is delicious. As we do every week. Tyler, we're going to kick it off with a delicious debate.
Let's save the Oilers talk for a second. I mean, Hockey Canada is the trending topic right now. Ousted in the quarterfinals for a second straight year, both years by Czechia. Who deserves the blame for Team Canada bowing out in the quarters?
So I'm going to go ahead and admit I've watched 24 minutes of the tournament this year.
You are highly qualified then.
It was not my year to watch the World Juniors. However,
do you not feel like there's a little less, and I don't know if it's like just to each individual, but there's a little less hype on it every year. Like, is it as we get older, we're a little more removed from those kids, and you really don't know those names anymore. Because I remember, like, if you go back to, like, I don't know, say the mid 2000s or something like that, we were jacked up. We knew damn near everybody on every roster, on our roster at the very least. And now it's just like,
I would even fast forward it to 2010, 2011. But then I was talking about this on Low Tide yesterday on 1440. And then Tyler and I also talked about it last week, I think.
We did it. We talked about it on Real Life.
Yeah. So I think it's like one of those ones where there are no Oilers prospects of note. Yeah, there are. There's Paul Fisher and Bo Akey, but they were kind of bit players on their teams.
Thanks a lot, coach.
The Oilers are also good. So there was a lot of times where we'd be dialed into the World Juniors because the Oilers were out by Halloween.
We played one game in the whole time. Is it more than one game? I don't know. I mean, we played.
But my thing on Real Life was I think there's a direct correlation between interest from Oilers fans and how good the Oilers are. Before, by Christmas, the Oilers were out of the playoffs for 10 straight years, and we were starved for a good team to watch. And it's like, oh my God, Christmas, yes, finally meaningful hockey games we can get behind. Now we're sitting here being like, I care so much about the Oilers, I don't care.
I just feel like there were so many more bigger names on the team back then. Like, you go back and you look at some of those teams in the early 2000s.
Like the 2003 team is the one that I always think of.
2005, 6, after the lockout year or whatever. Corey Perry is literally the 13th forward. And by game 2 or something like that, he is now on a line with Sidney Crosby and Patrice Bergeron. That is a ridiculous line. Look at those rosters and look how many guys are like massive NHLers to almost Hall of Famers. And then I know we really can't do that right now, but you look at these guys right now and go, how many of these guys are projecting to be in there? Or, 30 years down the road, we sit here, we look backwards, obviously, and go, 60% of that roster was what?
Yeah, but like
85% of the roster was back in the
2 years ago. Connor Bedard was dicing it up and was doing like crazy stuff at the World Juniors.
Yeah, and that's all. I feel like we've always had a big name like that.
Going back to your original question, though, who's to blame? Would you not start with roster construction?
Everybody's to blame.
Everybody. Like when I was reading about it on Twitter after they lost last night, everybody was complaining about roster construction. They didn't have anybody with any jam on the roster. And when they tried to, they were undisciplined, took penalties, and they couldn't outscore their problems. I don't know. Again, I didn't watch much.
Period. That's the end of the sentence.
Yeah,
they definitely had their own problems, but they couldn't score.
Yeah, like I thought the people actually who were doing like they aren't playing hard like a Canadian team used to. To me, they played too hard. They didn't remember they're playing a double IHF event.
No, see, I brought this up to Liam just before, and he must have been upstairs. But I said they weren't throwing the body like they did before.
They took like three knee penalties.
Those were not majors. They were not penalties.
In the double IHF, they are
penalties.
They reviewed them. They video reviewed them.
They were wrong. He put right through the goddamn middle of his chest. What more do you have to do?
I know, but when they're video reviewing them, that's how the double IHF calls it.
Yeah, but they're wrong. That's not a penalty in hockey, period.
But it is in there.
No,
but you're out of the tournament because you didn't know the double IHF rules.
So what? The player moves his torso and leaves himself out and then lays on the ice.
I agree with you. The double IHF doesn't. Whose opinion matters? Right? Like that's what I mean. That guy would
fix that. I know that's wrong.
But a guy with a minute left, when you can look and be like, my team's already
that one
taken.
was a little bit worse than the 5-minute one.
But like
the 5-minute one was not a fucking penalty. Period.
My team's already taken a dumb kneeing penalty. We have a ton of momentum right now. We just tied the game. I should hit that guy really hard. Why do you have to hit that guy? Just go get the puck.
It's hockey.
No, that's a dumb play to make. It's undisciplined.
You hit the player. He dove out of the way. He moved his body to make a. It's almost like when you turn your back in the corner. You shouldn't do that. You should not be getting the other guy should not be called for that.
I agree with what you're saying, Rick, but there's a lot of pedestrians out in this world that are dead right too. They cross the road in a legal spot and they get hit by a car. Were they right?
Where are you going with this?
Were they right? Absolutely. They were in the right, but they lost. And I think that's like you're at your core, you're right.
Yeah,
hockey, the game of hockey allows the hit.
Doesn't have to go to jail.
Yes, they do.
Not all the time. If you're just walking out of nowhere, if you're walking out between two cars and a car coming down the road, and he hits you, he's not going to jail.
The point I was trying to make is that like hockey is physical, but like Tyler said, the reality is the IIHF is going to call those things the way that they've always called them.
They didn't call it the same way they called in the same damn game, though.
Liam, let me ask you a question.
In the same game, almost the same plays, and they reviewed both of them.
Were penalties.
No, they weren't. And both
of them were given penalties.
If you hit someone with your car, when are you on the hook for that, Liam?
New segment brought to you by Diamond and Diamond. We're gonna break down some film here, boys.
So on the penalty thing, which I think actually is an interesting layer that isn't getting discussed too much, is when Canada played Germany, Sam Dickinson basically turned around and the German player was coming towards him, and it was just incidental contact. But they reviewed it for a 5-minute major for kneeing on Sam Dickinson. From that point on, which I just think shows how undisciplined this team was, they should have realized, oh, they're calling that. Like, we got to be careful. And I agree with what Rick's saying. That first one was, I kind of think it was 3 last night.
Yeah,
it was easily the cleanest one of the 3.
Mm-hmm.
And that was one that was called a major. So I think the other problem part of it is the inconsistency of what you're doing. I really do think the third one was probably the worst of the lot. And they didn't want to call. I honestly thought they were calling a 5-minute major for that one.
So did I.
I don't know how they didn't based on the first one that they gave 5.
It makes no sense. Yeah.
But based off the question, like, whose problem is it? Canada had more than enough talent to win this tournament or medal or not lose 3 games. I think that's a big layer of it. It's not the fact that they lost this game controversially. They were the 3 seed in their group going up against the 2nd seed. They lost. Czechia is good, but it's the fact of like the leadership from Dave Cameron and his staff was honestly pathetic. Like the fact he comes out, they don't.
Accountability is terrible.
Oh my goodness. It's honestly humiliating. I'd be very embarrassed if I was him. They never practice, and he uses the excuse of like the players are tired. So then what are you doing to these guys? You have this is the largest roster they've ever been able to take to this event.
We also got the good dressing room, and we were the only team to stay close to the arena.
There you go. There's another layer for you. That doesn't make any sense. Every other team scared, and they beat you. The idea that you can't bench players who are taking undisciplined penalties because the tournament is short shows that you're clearly not prepared for this event if you think you can't do that. And you don't think, and it also shows to me that you don't think your roster is good enough. If you think that a guy like Easton Cowan, who was probably Canada's best forward, to be honest, can't sit down for a shift after he takes a dumb penalty and someone else can step up, just shows, your lack of belief in the roster. So I think it's all on the coaching staff. I think the selection was poor in some parts of it. But again, like, you had more than enough talent to do that. And there's guys too, like you look at guys like Callum Ritchie, Jet Lachenko, maybe they weren't played correctly, but those guys played NHL games this year and they didn't step up. Callum Ritchie had 1 goal in this tournament. He was supposed to be their best player or one of their best players.
Do we have anybody who scored more than 3 goals
We had, I'll counter
Because I
that. We
think
had
at one
one
point
player who scored 2 goals and everyone else scored 1.
Okay, good. I wanted to guess 3 because I thought I heard last night that we had 12 goals going into last night's game, and there were 12 different goal scorers. I just want to make sure I didn't miss that.
No.
So one dude scored 2 goals.
We actually only had 2 players who had 3 points.
Yeah, see, this is
that is not the Canada I remember.
This is your coaching staff. This is the guys who picked your team.
Sorry, Dan, go ahead.
Yeah, no, I was just going to say, I think it boils down to 2 things that are kind of like higher or overarching themes that are just more of an issue. And it's one, and I think it goes back to our conversation about why is this tournament not as popular? And it's the success of Canada for the last 30 years. They were just winning the tournament by setting a roster. They didn't even really have to show up for some of those tournaments to be able to just dust through the entire round robin. They were talking about it before the game, how there's been quarterfinals where it was 8-0 for every team. The rest of and that's the second point too. So first of all, ton of success, and you're not really able to learn much when you're successful all the time. Second issue is the rest of the world has caught up to us, and you got to stop pretending that that's not the case. Finland, Czechia, Latvia took Sweden to the brink yesterday in their game. They play well, and they're all catching up to us at the same time, and we're all just kind of looking around and blaming it on a coach or on management. I think it's Hockey Canada in general, and there's just an overarching theme of the sport of hockey is too expensive for some of the best players to be able to continue to grow into the sport and continue to become better at it. So I think that Canada hockey in general,
definitely a point there. Yeah. I mean, it is,
but I think
we're good enough to beat all those teams.
I slightly disagree, Dan. I don't fully disagree because I think you're right. At the world junior level, those teams are catching up because Canada does also have to leave players at home as well. The other teams don't have to do that as much, but like Canada wins at every other level. Besides, like the women's team dominates the U18, U17 program. They basically win the Holinka every single year. It's literally just the world juniors these past like 2 years where they've been terrible. And maybe it's just this age group.
Well, you're going to lose a couple of your best players to the NHL, obviously.
For sure. Like they could have had Salabrini and Bedard. Yeah. Obviously, they weren't going to go.
And I think
everyone
you left
knew that. But
some highly offensive players off the roster for whatever reasons.
Yeah, there was a few. Injuries didn't help them too. Like Lindstrom, who was the 4th overall pick, and TJ Ginley was like 6 or 7 or something like that. He could have gone, but like, I don't know. I do think players didn't step up for them too. Like they didn't take Matthew Wood. He was on the team last year.
Yeah, that's crazy.
He's a really good player.
Dan brings up a good point too. Like there also is just the standard. Like I'm looking, including this year, if we go this year back 9 other World Juniors, so total of 10. Canada's won 5 of them and has been in the final 7 times.
Oh yeah, I mean everyone's saying, Canada sucks, but that stuff's really wrong. I think the selection process, we saw it with the 4 Nations thing. I think they kind of selected the same. They left like Hyman's not on that roster, right? And everyone's sitting here watching everything since that, going, "Wow, I can't believe you missed that." I guarantee you, there's 2 Hymans left off the World Junior roster for the same type of reasoning.
What was the quote? They had a quote today when all those people, I'll say kindly,
Hockey Canada executives.
Yeah, those ones. They were talking, and Waz said something while we were out there. I was like, we wanted a group that was like hard working. It's like, that's awesome. You need those guys, no doubt about it. You probably need like 2 of those guys built around
on your 4th line,
and they can go out to play, and they will give you awesome shifts,
kill penalties, and like good.
Yeah, awesome. Play your role. We had Tyler Ennis on our show yesterday, and he said on his team, and this is the whole thing too of like players getting cut. Happens every year. We're Canada. We have the best players. We're gonna miss out on big time players.
Who did he say got cut his year?
Didn't make his team that World Junior year. And Tyler Ennis said, I started on the first line. And Matt Duchene was the 3rd overall pick, by the way. Tyler Ennis said, I was projected to start on the first line. And I started the tournament on the first line. By the final, I was playing on the 4th line. But you leave your ego at the door. You play your role. And I just found that this team wasn't able to do that as well. It's just like, and I don't think the coaching staff put them in a position to succeed because I don't think players even knew what they were supposed to do.
And they didn't practice once during the tournament.
And do you know the whole week? The other
no practice, no pre-gamer. Don't worry, boys.
So you got this.
That Porter Martone who scored the
I love that cheese.
Yeah. So he's a great player, and he's going to be an awesome player. Probably top 3 pick in the draft. How do you go from a healthy scratch to playing on the power play? It makes no sense. It makes no sense at all. His ice time was the power play.
Well, and I mean, like,
and he should be on the power play. Sorry, Dan, because he's very good. But go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, like, the power play to me, that's where a practice is most important, because communication and comfort with the players on the ice is so important when you have the man advantage. So no kidding, these kids look like they're lost.
They asked about that. Like, do you think that more practice time could have helped, chemistry amongst the team and maybe leading the goals? And no, that's not the way it works.
And like,
that's not the way. All right, then.
Like Dave Cameron acted like they were going out there and he was going to backskate them. And that's what fans wanted. It's like, no, go out there and practice your special teams.
Yes.
There's a couple of line rushes.
Yes.
Like no one's asking you to do anything intense.
But like, and my thing too,
minutes.
like what were the kids doing all day if they weren't practicing? Like, were they just watching TV?
Like
Media availability.
Shooting videos with the bar down guys? Sorry guys, they're trying to practice. Luca or whatever his name is needs a
You're
video.
probably not completely wrong in that.
Yeah, and maybe the tournament being in Canada is more distractions and all that. But anyways, we've now talked about this more than Bag Milk watch the tournament, so we can move on.
One quick thing. Ladislav Schmid is an assistant coach on Czechia. So shout out to Schmid. And then I kind of felt bad for the Oil Kings yesterday because the guy who scored the game winner plays for the Oil Kings, Adam Yurko, I think his name. And they were like, we're just doing this to support our guy.
Well, they put out the tweet first, right? Like pump the kids' tires.
Yeah.
Then they had to put out a tweet right afterwards going, sorry, Canada fans. But this is why we did it. We're just trying to, this is our guy.
Yeah. So I'll cheer for Czechia the rest of the way for sure.
On the bright side, we get to maintain my favorite tradition from the tournament every year, and that's yelling at children on social media.
Someone, a Leafs fan, was like, has a player ever been vilified at a World Juniors the way Easton Count is? And someone replied when the Vancouver Province put Jake Virtanen's face on the front page, and the title of the newspaper was Goat Medal. And it's like, Virtanen causes Canada to lose.
How about Maxime Courtois?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Canada's got, he missed a shootout goal or something like that. Holy moly.
Like, never happened before.
That was,
On the bright side, though, if you want to look for one from the World Juniors and somebody being left out of even being invited to camp, our boy Sam O'Reilly, since November start in his last 12 games, has got 9 goals and 10 assists for 19 points with the London Knights. I was going to say the Golden Knights. How dare you? The London Knights are 10-1-1 over that span. So shout out to Sam O'Reilly. He has been heating up in the absence of Easton Cowan on his line.
It's just so annoying.
Doesn't he have our other draft pick on that line?
Oh, yeah.
Or at least on the team? Seventh rounder or something like that?
Oh, William Nickel.
There you go.
That's the guy. In his last 10 games, loading. He has 2 goals in 8 points.
He is a 7th round pick, right?
Yeah.
So
I do love our office internet. I do love the office internet.
Same time.
We are trying not to look at too many tabs at once so that Liam can load the stats from the London Knights when he needs them. All right, we're going to move on to the Oilers now because I want to talk about, obviously they had the 2 rough losses in California against the Kings and the Ducks. Rebounded nicely on New Year's Eve against Utah. We got another big goal from Matthias Ekholm, who I want to say again, he is ruining the trade deadline for me, and I'll tell you why. Any trade that is below that one now is ruined for me.
It will be a thing. Like for 20 years, it'll be like when we're the old men reminiscing about the good old days, we'll just always be like, they need to make a trade like that Ekholm deal. That's when the Oilers.
That's what I mean. Like,
why you guys always bring up 2024? It's 2046. Leave it alone.
We need an Ekholm trade. So you think about it, like Tyson Barrie is an extra in Calgary right now. Reed Schaefer is not doing a whole lot. And then there's a first round pick in there for arguably the best defenseman we've had since Chris Pronger. How is any trade going to match up to that? He's ruined things.
I don't even think it's an argument.
I don't think
it's an argument.
Oh, that is.
No.
I don't think it's an argument.
It's definitely not an argument.
I just think your point of like, it's so hard to replicate. Like, I don't, like, you look through the league now and like, we always say like, oh, we'll just get a guy with term. Like, happens maybe like once a trade.
Never happens.
Like Thomas Hurdle's the other one I can think of, but like, was there anyone else from even last trade deadline?
Thomas Hurdle had like 7 years on his.
I know, but that's
crazy.
Like, even that one was that just seems.
There was Eric Carlson, I guess.
You want like 3 years, not 7.
But that was like an off-season one too, wasn't it?
I don't remember.
Yeah, they tried to get it done. During
It
those.
was too difficult.
I believe there's like
we got a lot of mileage out of Eric
Carlson.
Carlson.
They really wanted that guy on our team, by the way.
Yeah.
It's just like, I don't know. Even like getting a guy with 2 years on this term seems incredibly difficult now.
Mm-hmm. So all I'm saying is Matthias Ekholm ruined that for me. And every trade the Oilers have made since and probably going forward, they just won't hit for me. We're going to get another Jared Smithson type of some kind, and it's just going to annoy me.
Can't come over for like a week.
Couple of shifts,
Yeah.
Couple of spins. Anyway,
Did that happen?
Jared Smithson?
Could come.
That
Yeah,
was
it
the
was-
big deadline acquisition.
His
that
wife was
Steve
having a
Campbellini
baby
made.
or something, wasn't it?
4th round pick. I wonder what that 4th round pick turned into.
Probably
Like,
one of the
UC
great-
Staros. Fuck.
Well, the one that always comes to mind is in 2006 when they traded the 2nd round pick to Boston for Sergei Samsonov, which turned into Milan Lucic. That's always the one that sticks out to me that I remember.
Matt Buckles.
Oh, I love him.
Matt Buckles.
Never played in the
I love
NFL.
Buckles.
He's now retired.
I just thought it was fun. By the way, I snapped my personal in-person losing streak. I felt like I was the issue. The Oilers had lost 6 straight games that I had attended.
Wow.
6.
Do you want me to recap them for you?
Dude, that is 100%. That's the penalty for getting to go to all the playoff games last year.
Well, I was going to say the 3 of them come in the playoffs last year.
4 of them.
Oh yeah, they lost every cup final game you went to, right?
Yep.
Oh boy. And 3 of them you went to Florida for.
4 of them they lost in the final that I was at. Then I was just like, I've only been to a season opener once in my life. I'm going to go check out the one against the Jets. Stinker. Then we went to the Florida game 2 weeks ago. Lost again. I thought it was my fault.
I've only been to one this year and it's Calgary and they lost.
I thought it was my fault. So anyway, I snapped my personal in-person losing streak.
That
That's
felt like a
big
get
win.
right game a little bit for them. Like they just went out there and sort of had this swagger and confidence about it. They had like 30 shots in the first 31 minutes of the hockey game. That game was 4-1, but it felt like an 8-1 win the way they just put the boots to them right out of the gate.
It was nice seeing them come out and do that, especially after those 2 shitty games in California.
Yeah.
The interesting thing that came about it is the lines changed very quickly in that game. We had originally Nugent-Hopkins was on the 3rd line with Janmark and Kapanen, and that line was atrocious. It was so bad. So then they got flipped up to the 1st line with McDavid. He scored immediately. But what do you guys think about having Hyman on the 3rd line? Probably to be more of a driver on that line than they've had. But what do you think about moving him down?
I don't. Is it? It's interesting. Is he the driver? Like, someone obviously has to carry the puck.
Because right now
But I
he'd
think
be with.
Oh, careful.
Janmark
You're
and
about to get
Kapanen.
told Janmark's the driver.
Well, that's what I'm asking.
He might be. In the
Is that what
sense of,
we're-
like, he's just going to get the puck in his zone. Because who's the left winger, sorry?
Hyman is playing left. Foot.
And who's the right winger?
Kapanen.
Like, the 3 of them might just go in there and work their absolute ass off.
Yeah, I think that's probably the goal.
Like, someone just gets the puck into the zone. I actually don't think it'll be Hyman.
And then one of the right-handed shots goes to the front of the net, puts the puck in the net.
Exactly.
Question: how long do you think Hyman is on that line? He finished the game against Utah. There, he's starting today, at least according to practice.
I think I could see him changing the lines tomorrow.
Yeah.
Like Knoblauch said that he just wanted to give Brown like the opportunity to prove himself.
2 points the other day.
So Brown had 1 point up until November 5th.
Mhm.
When he got his 2nd point on November 6th, he has had 17 since, which makes him like the 4th highest scoring forward on the team. He's been playing 3rd line. He's
He's having a great
really
run,
well.
man. He's playing.
He's
I
having a
like the
really good
idea
run.
of like guy plays good, gets rewarded. I also like just experimenting a little bit. Hyman on the 3rd line, sure. Let's see what we have there. Let's see Henrique on the top line for a bit. Nugent, like
This
just
is
mix
what-
it up a little bit.
That's what you're supposed to do when
Yeah.
you're like, right? Like, because otherwise, if you just keep playing the lines we have all year, these guys are gonna get kind of bored. They're trying to wait, how long till April again, guys? How long?
Yeah.
Playoffs. When do the playoffs get here, guys? That's when it starts to matter again.
Yeah,
right?
it keeps everyone on their toes.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah.
Yeah, I like that.
Anything else stick out from that win over Utah?
The 2nd line was the only one that stuck together.
Buckholz and Draisaitl Arvidsson. It looks like they're stable to each other for at least a little bit.
And they dominated Utah the other day in how much? 9 minutes and 39 seconds. The shot attempts were 17-5. The shots were 14-5.
You know something I would like to see? If that line is so good for basically the entire game, and I think, remembering correctly, they were good against the Kings and pretty okay against Anaheim in comparison to everybody else.
Mhm.
I understand the idea of like you need a goal, but sometimes I think they go to that way too quickly and they need to just be like McDavid over the boards, Draisaitl's line over the boards, McDavid again, Draisaitl. You know what I mean? Instead of just being like, well, let's just put Nuge out with these 2 guys and give the other guys a rest for a shift. It's like, no, keep attacking. Like, get those 2 lines just flowing if they're doing well. And I I think it shows maybe a bit belief in that group as well, because they have been good enough, especially since Albertson's come back from injury.
I think those guys had instant chemistry. It wasn't like as good as it is right now because they do need time to play with each other to figure things out. But when they first put them together, I think for the most part, everyone's like, "Oh, I think we have something here. Let these three play together for a while, and they're gonna turn into something." And then the Alberson injury obviously happened, which kind of delayed everything. So it's nice seeing those three guys get back together again and kind of pick up where they left off.
Let them cook.
If Victor Arvidsson could, like, number one, stay healthy, but then maintain kind of the pace he's on since coming back, that would be such a massive add. He's got 4 points in his last 5 games, including 2 goals. So that would be a huge, huge win if he could start to produce a little bit alongside Leon.
Well, he had that quote too the other day where he said, they asked him, I can't remember where I heard it already, but I mean, Arvidsson said it. That's where I heard it. He said sitting in the press box helped him a lot. Just being able to realize what he needed to do. And he said the biggest thing was slow down. He said he was going like way too fast, 100 miles per hour, and he wasn't able to think the game like he was supposed to. And I think when you've come back, he's still going pretty quick out there. It's just kind of his style, but like you can see him making way more plays now with the puck.
Yeah, and that actually, not to keep plugging this, but Ennis again kind of gave us some good insight into that like a month ago when he was like, man, the first few times you play with those guys, you need to get it like through your head. I'm paraphrasing, but like, don't just pass them the puck. You know how to play hockey too. You don't have to like just feed it to Connor and Leon as much as you want. And I do think there's a little bit of that, which again is why I'm okay with like the experimenting of like, it's part of the reason I'm still saying give Jeff Skinner 3 to 5 games up there is like, you don't know what you don't know. Give him 3 to 5 games, see if he gets comfortable. Give Connor Brown 3 to 5 games. Say, hey, good, you're comfortable with Connor again. Good, next. Like, I'm okay with all of this kind of line juggling right now. When it gets down the stretch drive, yeah, I want to see some consistency in the lines. In the playoffs, I want to see consistency. For right now, and maybe just goes back to my confidence level in the team in general. But I'm just like, yeah, experiment. Who cares?
If you're putting Skinner up, where are you putting him?
Next to Connor.
So then who's the other winger?
You stacking the centerman then, obviously?
Yeah, stack the centerman.
What do you think about Jeff Skinner being a healthy scratch on Saturday against the Kings?
And not given.
Yeah, probably deserved. Again, not that he deserves a look up the lineup because he hasn't been good enough and clearly isn't doing the things Kris Knoblauch wants him to do. But like, it's hard to argue against him being healthy scratched when he's playing 8 minutes on the fourth line.
The other thing I want to touch on quickly from the game against Utah before we move on is Connor McDavid. He's working his way up the all-time points board for the Edmonton Oilers. He is now at 1036, which moved him 2 points ahead of Mark Messier for third in franchise scoring. Next up, Yari Curry, who's only 7 points away. That could be done by the end of the weekend.
Could be done tonight.
Perhaps.
Does he have a 7-point game?
I don't think so. That's a lot of points.
So.
Sam's
got the 8, and I think if he had a 7, we would remember it.
Greatest offensive output.
He's got a handful of 5s
in modern era.
Sam, that game, I think about it sometimes. I watch the highlights every now and then.
Doesn't Connor have like more 3-point games or 3+ point games than you have zeros?
Something like that.
He has 2 6-point games. Oh my goodness. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 5-point games.
But not an 8-point game yet.
No 8-point games.
No 7s either. Come on.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9,
keep it down
10,
somehow.
11, 12, 13, 14. I have to pay to find out if he has any more. We will never know.
Does anybody have a credit card?
Not going through with it.
The other thing I want to mention from that game is the empty netter for Leon Draisaitl further cements my belief that the hockey gods want him to win the Rocket Richard.
By the way, 44+ point games for Connor McDavid in his
40?
40.
Is that good?
Probably.
You paid.
Seems right.
Thank you for sacrificing.
No, I just did an NHL. What say were you using?
Another one.
Stat music.
I just did NHL.com, looked at all the 4+ point performances that Oilers have had, and then name searched McDavid. It said 40. So 40, I'll believe. Draisaitl Rocket.
Yeah.
You want the odds?
Rocket
Tell me,
man.
Show up Bet365.
We can talk about that in the betting segment as well. But yeah, I want the odds because I think like he's scoring goals. Not only is he scoring the goals you'd expect him to score, but he's also getting a bunch that are just so fluky that the universe wants this.
Also, 8 game winners, most in the NHL. Second place has 2. He's 4 points clear of second place in the goal scoring race. 20 even strength goals, tied for first in the NHL One of those even strength goals is an empty netter. Kaprizov's tied with him. Kaprizov has 6 empty netters. I want to
hold on. Did you say 8 game winners?
8 of his 27 goals are game winners.
And second place on that list has
2?
2?
No, 6.
6.
He's 2 clear
6.
of 6.
Okay,
I thought they had 2.
And Draisaitl to win the Rocket Richard on Bet365 is plus 100. It's now Draisaitl versus the field.
Awesome.
That's how you know.
I should have got in on this belief a couple of weeks ago when I was started talking about it.
Well, that's where I'm regretting the Hart Trophy thing, because we talked about it like a month ago and it was 35-1. He's now 9-1.
Mm-hmm. Tyler, you wrote an article this past week about Ty Emberson. Elliot Friedman on 32 Thoughts said that the Oilers want to start contract extension talks with Emberson as soon as this month, now that they're able, because they want to learn some lessons from what happened last summer.
What happened?
Last January.
Fogel?
Yeah, lost Fogel. That was a big one. He did absolutely light the Oilers up against when they played LA last weekend. Tyler, what do you think about the Emberson extension talks?
I think it's a slam dunk decision. Like, you extend this guy. The steps he's taken since coming here through half a season have been great. The fact he's this comfortable playing the role he does less than 100 games into his NHL career, I think is a pretty rare thing. You let another organization do all the developing. You sniped him from San Jose. Give the guy an extension. And I mean, it's a chance to maybe build a value contract in here. Like, I joked on Owen every day. I said, give him the 3-year deal. Then the next day, give him 10 straight games in the top 4 with Darnell Nurse to see what you have. But like, don't do it till you sign him kind of deal.
3-year times what?
1.6.
All right, I'm in.
1.6, you think gets it done?
Yeah. So I heard one guy that they might use as like a comparable was, who's the guy in Calgary that just signed?
Packle.
Braden Pachal. He signed a 2-year extension for $1.17 million. And he had, played a pretty similar amount of games, actually a little bit more coming into this year than Emberson did. So the fact that guy got a 2-year extension with more games played than Emberson, playing every night with the Flames, like, if you wanted to go 3 years with Emberson, I think 1.5, 1.6 absolutely gets it done. And then if he ends up blossoming into a top 4 guy, you could have him at 1.6 in your top 4, Podkolzin at 1 mil in your top 6, and you're laughing. That's big value.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're that confident, if the organization is that confident, you got this type of player in there, why not go more than 3? You want to get value contract.
Yeah,
here.
but you need the players got to agree, right?
100% they do.
So I think 3 years with Emberson is like, hey.
Does that would he be still restricted after 3 years?
No. Because I know he's got the group 6 thing right now, which
but he'll play 60 games.
Yeah. So 3 years would take him right to UFA. Yeah. So if you're Emberson, it's like, oh, you guys are going to give me like $4.5 million guaranteed, less than 100 games into my NHL career. When, I mean, a couple of years ago, it was looking like maybe I might not even get there. And then you're going to give me a chance to be a UFA at like 28. It's a slam dunk. As soon as you start going 4 or 5 years and you're like, hey, we want to eat into your UFA seasons. That's how much we believe in you. If I was Emberson, I'd be sitting there going like, all right, if you believe in me that much, I'll take the 3-year deal and then you can pay me when I'm 28.
That's fair. I mean, people do have to realize there are 2 sides to every story. Like, we want to sit there, make it 8. Make it 8 years.
I would do 8 by 2 in a heartbeat, but like, why would he?
The player has to sign it too.
I'm just glad the organization is getting in front of it so we don't have to wait until this offseason if we did lose Emberson.
Yeah. Well, there goes that report from last year that Holland was instructed to get those guys signed in January, February, March, and it didn't happen. And we knows what happened. So I'm glad that Stan Bowman goes, I don't think we're going to play this game again.
Yep.
So annoying.
Very annoying. I was watching the Winter Classic and seeing that Holloway had 13 goals now is not ideal.
Lowest viewed Winter Classic ever.
It was, yeah. It was a shit stomping too. I even like that the Chicago Blackhawks, they basically all came out and apologized for being ass in that game.
They should. Like Hockey Canada should.
I still think they got to put that back on January 1. I know it fights the football game and whatnot.
What football game?
Some college ball on.
Is that what I don't know. I feel like those are 2 kind of almost different markets. But I see what you mean.
But I just think, you know what? December 31st, there's a lot of people out and about, and they're not necessarily in front of their TVs.
I liked it more than doing it on New Year's Day. Like I looked at it as like I was done work. I sat down at a couple hours before like my New Year's Eve night, and I was like, oh yeah, sweet. The Winter Classic's on the next
New Year's Eve all the time. Well, it should be all the time.
What time was the game at?
No, the game
in the afternoon at some point.
It was late afternoon, yeah.
But New Year's Eve is almost always Canada-US World Junior game.
Do you know that?
It ended before that, though.
Yeah.
Or close.
Yeah, there's a little overlap, I think.
I looked because I wrote a bit of a preview on it. of Akey versus Fisher, and Fisher didn't play. So that was big. Canada and the US haven't played each other on New Year's Eve since 2018.
I know they definitely
It's been a while, but that's the thing that's kind of ironic in all of this is, the World Juniors is going on and people are watching it a lot in North America. So if you don't want to compete with college football, then isn't that just the same as competing with like Canada's New Year's Eve game?
Yeah,
doing like two American teams was the idea of like countering it.
I like that January 1 game. Nobody's working. Everybody's at home. Everyone's not feeling too hot. You're on the couch. Turn the TV on.
I'm with you.
I just think we need Chicago in another outdoor game next year.
I think Chicago, Detroit, maybe New York Rangers, Boston, someone like that.
Yeah.
Play.
Get someone
we haven't seen him play enough.
I like. Are they doing an Ohio one
with Florida in it?
What did Jason Demers said something about it today?
Florida, they're doing Florida and Tampa next year, apparently, both of them.
I want to know why they're doing that.
In Fort Lauderdale?
Apparently in the Miami Marlins Stadium in
Miami. Oh, Little Havana.
Little Havana.
It was a tough place to go out there.
Because just remind me when the Bakersfield Condors played and it was raining and it was all slushy.
Griffin Reinhardt, overtime winner in the rain.
Hell yeah.
Liam and I went to a Marlins game with Frank during the Cup final on one of the off days.
$6.
Yeah, tickets were $6. Second row behind the Marlins dugout. Parking was $20. Paid more to park than for all three of us to get in the door.
Wow.
It wasn't. And the game was actually good. They played Cleveland, Canada's team. Little Havana.
Shout out to Eric Sabrowski.
I just looked here. So I went to Ty Emberson was drafted 2018. And what's he going to be close to? 100 games to end the season?
Probably.
If he plays all 82, somewhere around there. Uso Valimaki makes $2 million that he just signed it this year. And he's known as like the offensive guy. So I think it's good to have that as like kind of a ceiling of like, hey, you don't score points. Valimaki doesn't score a ton of points either. His career high is 34, which came 2 years ago. And then he only got a $1 million raise the year after. I think that's interesting.
Ty Emberson, to answer your question, has played 65 games so far.
So he'll be
he'll 100, provided he stays healthy, of course.
Ish, yeah. Fingers crossed. Great player. I like him a lot.
Finally, I do too. I really like Ty Emberson. I keep calling for him to score his first goal as an Oiler in my GDBs as the not so obvious game day prediction. It's coming. I feel it. I feel it in my plums.
He's just different in the sense of like, how do I say this? I'll just say it. You don't have any expectations for him to be good. You know what I mean? He's kind of just, he's just kind of goes out there and he's your steady Eddie. He's essentially,
I was going to say he's quietly good all the time.
All the time. He's
a bit of a new style player with a little bit of a physical edge to him. And the physical edge is the part that I like seeing out of him as a defenseman. You need to play that type of a style. You don't want their forwards getting comfortable bringing the puck into your own zone. There's still a massive part of this game that you can, if you're the most physical team, that you can start winning those battles.
Yeah.
Well, there's one thing that I think the Oilers need is more physicality. So I'm looking forward to when Evander Kane comes back healthy because he obviously adds that. But Ty Emberson has never shied away from dropping the mitts if he has to. He throws hits. He's physical.
That's the thing that I like about him.
And the reason he's getting into fights is because of the hits he just throws.
Yeah.
And I think too, like in comparison to the other defensemen that have come through, obviously Broberg being the most recent one, like you expect points. You were expecting points. He's an 8th overall pick. You just need Ty Emberson to basically be in the lineup and you think, win. Awesome. He's here still on the team. So great.
He's listed at 6'2", Tyler. Do you agree with that?
Do I agree that Ty Emberson is 6'2"?
As somebody who is
6'2". I've never seen him in person, but I'll say yes.
Are you as tall as a certain NHLer?
We both probably know. You always get a little boost on the internet.
I'm probably taller than Emberson then.
Yes.
Okay. Oh, you're taking my side.
Yeah, I'm saying that he's most likely not 6'2".
Probably 6'1". It's like Yamamoto. I remember once I held the door open for Kyler Yamamoto. I was like, no shot in hell you're 5'8", buddy. No way.
That was like Chalmers yesterday. Trying to sell that he was 5'7".
Yeah, but then admitting on the pod, he was like,
I'm closer to 5'6".
Yeah. And it was like 5'8". Then he was immediately like, I'm lying, by the way. I'm closer to 5'6". That was good. Good fun. Also, while we're on the topic of real life, Jay bought a hydrogen-infused water bottle.
Oh my God.
What does that mean?
Right. So it only holds 225 milliliters of water at a time.
So like comparing my water bottle, because this is how Chalmers did it, That's right here.
225.
So still a good.
Whoa. Wait, hold on.
From the top.
From the top.
The empty part of your bottle there.
Yeah,
is
that's
pretty much his
whole
entire
water
bottle.
That's his whole bottle.
So it pushes hydrogen into the water and gives you hydrogen infused water, and it beeps and it glows all these lights. Price is Right style. How much do you think he paid for this hydrogen water bottle?
Oh, this is the fascinating game that we played yesterday.
Okay, sounds expensive.
So think, you've got a 225 mils water bottle. It's got a hydrogen infuser. Is hydrogen good for you? Well, Tyler Googled and there's no evidence to say it is or it's not. Jay believes it is.
I'm going to $125.
I
125.
was going to say 110.
I'm going to say $225 in low and easy installments of what, $49.99 per month.
$147 for his little water bottle that beeps and makes noises.
All of us were guessing like 50, 40.
This is you gotta know who you're talking about.
Water bottle culture has gotten out of control.
He has a couple fads that he likes to be the very front of. First and foremost, his feet.
Uggs.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Uggs. He was doing the Birkenstocks before the Birkenstocks were a thing.
Yep. When we were doing Sweden trips or reverse Sweden trips, he embraced the scarves like I'd never seen.
Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, I can see him getting on top of the hydrogen water bottle thing.
Lastly, just to wrap up the news really quickly, I was a little bit surprised. Jesse Puljujarvi got waived by the Pittsburgh Penguins, just cleared. And my question is that the end of him at the NHL?
Someone said they went on the Penguins like subreddit or whatever, and the fans in there were like, he's this on the team and expected goals for. Why are we waiving him? And it's like, I've been there.
Now, did they send him down to the minors, or did they just do that to let him go up to?
Oh, he's actually not played a game for them yet.
He did clear waivers though.
Yeah, he did clear, but did he stay with Pittsburgh? You can get put on waivers and stay on your roster.
Yeah, I don't know.
We call that the Devon Shore.
Yeah, because I think the coach said like we're doing this for him, whatever the hell that meant. But
I mean, whatever. This is now the third organization who's like, not a fit. So he's probably going to be in Finland next year. Or
I do. Yeah, I do not see him in the. I do not see him in North America next year.
Yeah.
Contract does expire.
Yes, Puljujarvi is still with the team and joining them on the ice. According to Haley Hunter, who is a reporter for the Penguins.
Who likes golf?
She loves golf and Jesus. Assuming by this cross. Oh, it says believer.
That could be a believer. Are you sure? Did you check the spelling?
Let me check.
All right.
Oh, sorry. It is.
Was that just her Twitter bio?
Yeah, it says I got and there's a website link.
Time to talk a little betting, gentlemen. Anyway, around the horn real quick. Is that the end of Puljujarvi in the NHL? I feel bad for him because he has a range of skills. It feels like he had everything in the toolbox. He just couldn't put it together.
I mean, I'm going to say no. He's currently in the NHL. He skated today with the Penguins.
Liam says no. Rick?
I sure hope not.
Dan?
I say yes.
Unfortunately, I think yes.
Yeah, last year for me.
Let's talk a little betting for our friends at Bet365. Tyler, if you got any futures you want to look at, pull those up now. The betting segment is brought to you by Bet365, proud partner of Oilersnation Radio. Open an account with Bet365 today and bet on a huge range of markets. Use the code NATION. NATION is that code. Whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365. Looking ahead tonight, I want to just ask you guys some questions. I felt like we do a little bit of educational betting talk today. The Oilers are playing the Anaheim Ducks. So when I look at the money line right now, the Oilers are currently minus 500 on the money line. That is not a bet that I touch.
Yeah, it's usually the smart bettors, I think, kind of have like a close to blanket rule where when a game is this big, you just always blindly bet the dog. It's the NHL. Teams beat teams all the time.
Yes.
It's
literally just.
If it was not the Oilers, I would be blindly betting the Anaheim Ducks no matter who they're playing.
What about on the puck line, Tyler? Minus 160 to win by at least 2 goals.
You need the same game parlay today to get any ounce of value betting on this team.
So that's why I want to ask you, when you got a game like this, when you're looking for some value, if you want to make some bets, what would you look at? When I picked one out, feel free to scope Bet365 here, boys, as we're chatting. I'm looking for value if I want to bet on the Oilers versus Ducks. I think Zach Hyman anytime goal at plus 145, given that he plays on the power play, given that he's always around the net. I feel like that is a reasonable and valuable bet.
Yeah, the Ducks have a bad PK, and you can get Bouchard, Nuge, and Hyman all plus money to register a power play point tonight. I think that's probably a decent spot to look if you're trying to get something. Again, juicing up a parlay with maybe a shot prop because the Oilers, hopefully, unlike last time they played Anaheim, can really pour it on. So that's how I would go about it. Like, again, you can kind of do the logic of like, if they're going to win by 2 and you like minus 1.5, than you do like, hey, Connor should get 2 points in that instance. And you can make it into the plus money by doing that.
You just take Connor at 3.5 shots and go to plus 130.
No.
Connor doesn't like to shoot the puck all that much.
He went on a little drought of not really shooting the puck, which is going to turn around right away because we lost 2 games in California. Connors does not like to not put up points. He's going to fire that puck. Arvidsson at 2.5 also.
Yeah.
Even if you wanted to get some plus money on the over under, to get plus money would be over 7.5 goals at plus 160. That's a lot.
What's the team total? 5?
Probably 4.5. Yeah.
4.5.
Can I give you just quickly going to the money line thing?
Sure.
I think this is really interesting. If you were to bet $100 on the money line straight up for the Edmonton Oilers this year, every game, keep in mind the Oilers have one more than they've lost, right? What's their like straight up record this season? It's
21 and 22 or something.
22 and 15.
Yeah.
If you were to bet $100 on the Oilers every game, you would be down $148 this year. If you were to bet $100 on the Anaheim Ducks every game this year, keep in mind they are 16 and 21. You would be up $548. They're the second most profitable team in the Pacific Division, the third most profitable team in the Western Conference, and they are the only teams in the East who've made more money is Washington.
Is Calgary the most profitable?
No Canadian team. They don't.
No one. Who's first in the Pacific?
Vegas actually 671.
That's very interesting.
They've been dogs a few times this year, so they're also 26 and 12. So you have a 14 game bit of wiggle room there, but yeah.
So if you're looking to do a couple of bets tonight on the Oilers and Ducks, money line is not for you, Liam. What were you gonna say?
I like to look at assists when the value is not there on many other things. So McDavid just simply is not scoring goals at the moment, but he's still getting his points on assists. He's plus 140 for 2 assists tonight.
That's not bad.
Victor Arvidsson, who's also not scoring a ton, but still getting points, plus 210 to get an assist tonight.
That's nice.
That's pretty good.
There's some value there.
Yeah. And he's playing with Draisaitl. He's also plus 110. That's where I go. It's like
He's playing with Draisaitl, who's projected to be the what this year?
Best player ever.
Highest goal scorer too.
Totally random question. Who do you guys think has been the least profitable betting team in the NHL?
Oh, I'm going to say
The Rangers.
Oh, the Rangers.
I would also
I'm going to say the Rangers because I bet they were favored a lot and
maybe.
they lose a lot.
I'm going to guess the
Colorado's another good pick.
So sorry, the Leafs you'd be up money this year, plus $285, which is
my logic behind the Leafs was I feel like they are never the underdog.
Yeah,
that's fair.
Always
public
minus money. Yeah, public. Yeah.
Rangers not even the least profitable team in their own state. They're minus 927. The Islanders are minus $1,100, and Buffalo's also minus $1,100.
Buffalo stinks.
There is a team that if you did $100 on every money line bet, you would have lost $600 more than the second worst team.
Damn.
And it's Nashville.
I didn't think of that.
I didn't think of Nashville.
They're minus, if you bet $100 on every game, you'd be down $1,773. Second worst is the Islanders.
Holy cow.
$600 worse. Oh, that's terrible. They stink.
Open an account with Bet365 today and bet on a huge range of markets.
And don't bet on the Predators.
Don't bet on the Preds or the Islanders, I guess.
So the Nashville Predators tonight are minus 200 favorites over Vancouver on the road.
Seems like a great spot.
And I know Demko's out, but still.
Vancouver played last night. That might
without Demko most of the season. I should be used to that by now.
Yeah, maybe that seems heavy though. Like
they beat Seattle last night.
Vancouver. Yeah, Vancouver. And I know Demko. Well, he wasn't going to play either way, injured or not. But other games like Montreal, who is 8-2 in their last 10, but only minus 140 over Chicago on the road. Ottawa has been really good recently, minus 105 on the road against St. Louis, and then Pittsburgh, who I think is currently a playoff team, is plus 175 on the road against the Florida Panthers, who are minus 210.
3-leg parlay, Canucks money line, Oilers puck line, and the over between Ottawa and St. Louis because Ullmark's out.
What do you got there? What's your number?
Plus 741. I'm in.
Spicy.
I'm better right now. I don't even want to.
There you go.
Depending on how that Anaheim game goes, I think I don't like the Canucks, but plus 165 for a home team in the playoff spot against one of the worst teams in the NHL.
It's not a bad bet.
Seems awesome.
Open an account today with Bet365 and bet on huge range of markets. Whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365. The code is NATION. Gentlemen, I got some Ask the Idiots questions here. Got a couple of Oilers ones. We got a New Year's one. We got an Edmonton one. Presented by the Nation Vacation to Vegas. We are going to Vegas at the end of March for a couple of days. We are going to be staying watching the game in the Stella Artois Lounge. That is an all-inclusive, Tyler. You're going to have your drinks and your food covered for you. We're going to go down. We're going to have a great time. We're going to strap a GoPro to Waz, watch and find coffee if you can find one in Vegas. You want to come on this trip. NationGear.ca, go get yourself a spot. If you have, you want to arrange your own flight or you got points or whatever, we've got a non-flight option for you as well. This thing is going to sell out. I encourage you to join us. We are going to have a blast down in Las Vegas in late March. And that game could have some very real implications when we get to that point of the season as well. So it's going to be a good one. Ask the Idiots, boys. Starting with you, Tyler. This one comes in from Blake. One New Year's resolution for our beloved Oilers, please, lads.
I want them, I've said this one on a few shows, I want them to get meaner, get into scrums more, beat the hell out of guys, make Rogers Place a tougher place to play in. When they have a chance to, lay the boots to a bad team, beat them 8-1, 9-1. I want the Oilers to really kind of establish themselves as a feared team in the NHL.
Love that one. Dan, what do you got? New Year's resolution for the Oilers?
Well, you stole mine, Tyler. So I'm going to say make special teams even more special going into the playoffs. Both the penalty kill and the power play being better would be better for this team.
Rick, what do you got? New Year's resolution for the boys?
Well, I'm a really big fan of what Tyler just said there.
I am too, actually.
I don't know who let him go first. That's kind of silly. Let's just say we put all of our good wishes into our net. Like, I still believe in Stu. I just see some funky ass goals still go in.
Yep.
So if we can eliminate those, I think we're doing New Year's resolutions here. Let's eliminate those.
Mr. Horban, what do you got? New Year's resolution for the boys?
Continue it's not really a resolution. I want him to be incredibly aggressive at the deadline. Go a little crazy.
Find me an Ekholm.
Find me anyone that will help them win a Stanley Cup.
Okay, then. I'll allow that qualifier.
Jonathan Taves?
Mine is going to be
Patrick Kane.
Yeah, sure. Let's get it. Jonathan Taves is, by the way, looking to get back into the NHL at some point. That's an interesting story.
Taves over Derek Ryan? Come on.
You don't know if that's... I don't know. I mean,
that would be...
Taves is obviously better than Derek Ryan, but Derek Ryan is currently playing in the NHL.
Yeah, so my thing is... No one can give a take on if the Oilers should sign Jonathan Taves.
Well, they see Taves.
Because you got to see Taves skate. Like if Jonathan Taves skates and you watch him and you're like, oh my God, he is slow, he can't keep up, then don't sign him. But if you watch Jonathan Taves and you're like, whoa, he can skate like an NHLer. We know he has the brain of an NHLer. Yeah. You obviously sign that guy. He's great in the face-off circle. It'd give the room, I think, a bit of a boost to have a guy like that walk in and be like, oh shit, we have Jonathan Taves. So yeah, I just have a hard time giving a take on is it a good or a bad idea? Last time he played, he had 26 points in 52 games. So if he's a 40-point guy still, sure.
Where is he right now? Can we get him on the ice somewhere?
Dude, just be chilling.
Isn't he in India?
You want to get him chilling?
He's in India
I don't go to India.
He's back already. He's done that stuff now.
I thought he had a video put out over the New Year's.
No, I think that video is from a while ago because he did that.
He went on a Spirit Quest.
GQ or something like that.
Okay.
Hanging out with Aaron Rodgers.
You did Spirit Quest. I watched that
Enigma?
Aaron Rodgers docuseries, and the part where he just locks himself in a room that's pitch black for 4 days or whatever. I'm just like, this guy is wild. Liam, you're up next. If you had to if you had to divest the team of 2 roster players, 1 D and 1 forward, who are your choices? This comes in from David. David's mean.
Just get rid of 2 players?
Yep. You get a carte blanche to get rid of 2 guys.
Oh, I mean, I feel like it's pretty obvious.
Who is it?
No,
I just removed them from the team. Yep. Eric Ryan and Troy Stetcher.
Wow. Okay.
Oh no, Alec Regular, I guess. Sorry, I in my head the Oilers had already acquired a top 6 defenseman.
You're just getting rid of 2 guys.
Okay, those 2.
Rick, who are you getting rid of?
I'm trying to think if we have any massive contract issues, and I don't think so. I do not agree with the 2-5 contract issue being a big issue. So I'm going to go with...
Oh, yeah.
You're
Skinner
not
and Brown?
say it. You're not going to say it.
Skinner and Brown?
Yeah.
Which Brown?
I don't think we can. Oh yeah, Jeff. Not Connor.
Jeff Brown?
Josh Brown. Yeah,
no,
whatever.
Jeff Brown.
Yeah, Jeff Brown. Get rid of Jeff.
Jeff Brown.
It's GEOFF.
Oh, it's the not so
Geoff.
common Geoff.
Yeah. I don't think you can get. You can't subtract anybody off our starting 6 defense right now without making a serious issue.
Dan, we're being mean. Who are you getting rid of?
I think it's Jeff Skinner, as much as it pains me. And
I was Jeff, not Stu, by the way.
And it's probably Troy Stetcher at this point on defense myself.
Tyler, who are you getting rid of?
I'm with Lehman. I'm getting rid of Ryan and Stetcher probably. Or Regula, I guess.
Poor Regula hasn't even played.
I like that they're just keeping him around though. Like that's a pretty sweet game.
Stetcher. We need Tony Stretcher.
Yep.
If Tony's playing, we good. Troy's out there.
Yeah, when he took 3 penalties the other day, not ideal.
One of them a double. Like, come on. I can't remember what his second one was. Like, aren't you supposed to get ejected for 3 stick infractions?
No, this is the NHL, bud. A player like that, you have to realize that a player like that's going to have
you got
terrible
games. You got put in your place right there.
If that's his worst terrible game so far, I think it's pretty much a win so far with him.
Yeah, for sure.
Like you still wouldn't.
Still sucked.
Like, let's say we get to the playoffs, they've acquired a guy and there's an injury. Are you like shaking nervous if Troy Stetcher's in a playoff game?
No, I'm more than happy. He's an incredibly competitive player and I really do like him. But 8 penalty minutes in a game is insane.
To me, he's not even on the roster, but it's Derek Ryan and Josh Brown. See you later.
Yeah.
Josh Brown. I didn't realize he was part of this. It said, does the question not specifically say Edmonton Oilers roster?
Sure. I'll change.
And you too, Rick.
I'll change then. I'll go Derek Ryan and Matthias Ekholm.
Replace him with a new one.
And it's going to be 13-1.
Yeah, it'd be Troy Stetcher for me if I have to take a roster player. No, and I like you, Troy Stetcher. Don't fuck me here, Waz. Last question. This one comes in from Alan. I'm going to start with Rick. I hate driving in Edmonton because I think everyone on the roads is nuts. What annoys you most about driving around our city?
Other people.
Oh, I'll say overly cautious drivers.
Pretty much.
When you're going through like a free flow turn and someone's just like, yeah, I'm going to hit my brakes here. It's like, what? Or you're going down Grote Road and people are like, well, it's December. It's like, oh, there's no snow on the ground. No, I need to go 25. I need to go 25 right now. I hate it.
I do a lot of like inner city driving, so I don't get a lot of the freeway stuff. So I don't see a lot of the aggressive drivers. They don't really, but the overly like worrisome drivers, yeah, they're everywhere. They're terrible. Get the hell out of the way.
Dan, what annoys you about Edmonton drivers?
Year of 2024, I have been almost hit in more intersections in my life, or like this year than in my life. And to me, it's like people that are in a rush and just are blissfully unaware of the people around them.
I want to go fast.
Ricky Bobby
3 times on Christmas Eve in my Santa suit, I almost got hit by cars in intersections.
Liam, what annoys you driving around?
Joke there somewhere.
There is.
People who undertake and just like have no courtesy of like you also trying to change lanes. So a good example is like you're merging onto a highway and then all of a sudden like someone just rips behind you and just like goes right out in front of you. That drives me absolutely insane.
Yeah, because if the left lane's open, get the hell out of the right lane. You obviously know guys are coming over. They're gonna be slowing down. If there's no one in the left lane, just move to the left lane, get past the area, go back to the right lane. Very simple.
Are you criticizing me?
No, I'm telling you what the other guy should be doing.
Oh, okay,
he should not be going flying down that right lane.
Liam, you drive too slow.
I'm with Rick.
If the left lane is open, move over one to allow everyone to merge and get out of the way. You don't have to slow down. You got to keep going here. You got to keep flying.
To me, just to be a little bit different, the amount of people in this city that do not use a signal light as if it's a taxing activity to move your wrist 3 inches, use your signal light. Let's communicate out there. Let's get home safely.
I really don't think driving's that difficult.
It's not.
It's very simple procedure.
Very.
Put your foot on the pedal, hold the steering wheel, and look around.
I would argue it's become too easy. That's why so many people are
probably right.
Yes.
I would also, another one that really bothers me when people
doing for anybody.
There you go.
People don't know how to zipper merge.
Wow.
I'll just like get angry about it. Like
zipper merge.
People like don't let you in. It's, I'm not forcing my way to the front. It's just you're literally the only option I have is to be here right now.
Yes.
Like
sometimes they do fire down to try and get the way to the front, and nope, you ain't getting past me, pal.
I'm trying to get where I'm going as fast as I can. Damn it.
Lastly, this annoys me. If I let you merge and you don't wave or give me a signal,
we need the wave.
It drives me nuts.
I get social anxiety and I don't like to acknowledge other people. It rattles me.
You don't got to look. You don't got to look. Just wave.
Yeah.
Look this way. Wave that way.
Yeah.
You don't got to see if the other dude gave you the finger. Wave back. Anxiety gone. You just wave. Cool.
I will even put my hand out the window.
Why?
Yeah.
Keep driving.
Acknowledges other people's
No.
existence.
It is courtesy, Tyler.
Acknowledge
He's
other
freezing
drivers'
over there.
existence,
I don't
Tyler.
like it.
A New Year's resolution for Tyler is to wave when you merge.
I wave every single time, and every
You
single
have
time
to.
it gives me the heebie-jeebies.
You drive a billboard. You
Why?
have to be a good
I,
driver.
Why?
I wave, and then I was like, "Oh God, that's so cringy." Waving at
Flash your
someone.
4 ways at them.
Well, don't like kids. So
That is an acceptable.
Yeah, that's
Thank you.
acceptable.
you
Just a little
don't need to wave at them. Just
Oh, just the,
yeah, it's an acknowledgement.
And,
it acknowledges their existence.
If someone waves at me, I go like this. And,
no
Put
wonder,
your wave away.
no wonder if you wave like that. No wonder you get anxiety
Yeah.
waving at guys.
Put your wave away.
Why is he shooing me?
Put your wave away.
I'm giving other hand signals nowadays when I'm driving rather than a wave. Some
Yeah.
people are idiots.
Thumbs up.
Sounds
Actually,
like
that's my favorite one. When somebody does something stupid in traffic, I'll thumbs up them out the window.
my favorite is when someone is getting mad at me and I laugh at them. They get more pissed off at that.
Yeah. I want to know what annoys you in traffic. So reach out to us on socials. Hit us up. Tag us all. I want to know what annoys you about driving around in Edmonton. People that don't know how to use traffic circles. That's another one.
I can't wait for zipper merges to come up in your emails a bunch.
Do you
Yeah.
avoid traffic circles?
Sometimes.
You and Waz.
If
They're so efficient.
No. The only time I've ever actually avoided a traffic circle was when the Betway people were in town and I was driving the Nation truck. And yeah, sometimes I don't drive. There's no traffic circle on my drive to and from work or anywhere I go. Like St. Albert, they have like the controlled ones, but that's it. And I was driving with the Betway people and I was like, you know what? Let's just not even run the risk today. So I went, and then also I was like, they're from like Europe. They won't know if I am going the long way to the mall. So I just went through some neighborhoods. They didn't know any different.
They're efficient.
I agree.
Very
But
efficient.
if I'm with people, I get nervous.
Should have told me you're in the Nation truck. You're allowed to drive it right through it.
Yeah.
If you
Go
want
over
to.
the middle?
Yeah.
Might as
Why
well.
not? All right, there you go. I want to hear from you. What annoys you about driving around Edmonton? I figure people listening to this have got a bunch of takes, so I'd like to hear from you. Let's wrap up the podcast here with some hot and cold performers. And this is going to be just nationgear.ca. Go get yourself some fresh threads. We got some new designs that came out around Black Friday. We got a bunch of new stuff up on the store. If you use the code BAGGEDMILK10, you will get 10% off your order. Go ahead and do that at nationgear.ca. Let's start off with our veggies as we always do. I'm going to get my buttons ready. Tyler, you're up first. Your Nation Gear cold performer of the week.
The Edmonton Elks for rebranding again. I
What?
feel like they've been doing this every off.
What did they rebrand to?
Just the Elks, but spell or like the font's different.
Oh.
I just feel like it's
You could have done it without without all the hype behind it.
like they hyped everything up, and I feel like they hyped everything up so that people would have like the double E, or they getting rid of Elks finally, and then it's just like, oh, they spelled Elks differently, or whatever. Elks cold performer, you hyped up nothing. What the hell is going on?
New ownership, though, right? Is that not the?
Yeah, but owner wants to go to one name specifically.
But that's
Oh,
what
he
I
wants to
mean,
go
right?
backward?
So like,
Yes.
so then if the owner, if the reports are true and the owner wants to go back to double E or
That's
whatever,
what I thought it was going to be.
well, like,
So did I think they're going to wait for Washington to get the.
well, so then what? We're
Is that
rebranding
doing
again
it?
next
Are
winter.
they doing that?
Oh yeah, Washington's like hardcore going at it.
They should have just left it as Washington Football Club. I thought that
Because
was
like
cool.
the
name.
dude on the helmet's like a specific person.
Yeah.
Like, it's not just a generic one. So like I don't know if it's him per se, but I'm
His
not sure
family
he's
or
around
whatever.
still. But yeah, they're out there. They're really pushing at it.
Very interesting.
There you go. Nation Dan for nationgear.ca, your cold performer of the week.
My cold performer of the week is just going to go to that dude that threw his jersey at the World Junior game. The jersey throw is a refined and tried and tested and true
Yeah, pick your spots.
process to protest team performance. I just don't think that was the spot for it. So 40-year-old dude for throwing your jersey during a World Junior game, get my cold performer of the week.
Everybody knows you do that in November after a loss to the Minnesota Wild or something like that. That's when you chuck the jersey up.
It's an organizational thing, not a hockey body.
It's like the wave. You got to know when to do it.
Yeah, exactly.
No, not the same thing at all. The wave is fine.
New Year's Eve.
You can't prevent people from having fun in the
Yeah, are we policing fans or are we
what
not,
we doing?
Dan?
Come on,
New
pick a
Year's Eve
side.
wave was electric, by the way, Liam. I don't know if you saw
Yes,
it
it
on
was.
I
TV.
did. I enjoyed it. They were
You know,
up by 2 or 3.
Up 2 in the third period late. That thing went around the rink
If I'm
10,
in the
15
building and they're
times.
doing the wave at an inappropriate time, I will make sure the people around me
That's
know that it's an inappropriate time.
Thank you. Police them.
I will.
It's important to have standards. Rick,
It is.
nationgear.ca, cold performer of the week.
Honestly, it's probably more than a week. It's definitely more than a week now, but it's the Toronto Blue Jays. Everybody around them's doing stuff, and the Jays keep doing nothing.
Yeah.
Nothing. They're not going to do a damn thing this year. They're going to lose everybody, and this team is about to go into a massive rebuild.
We're going to get a decade of darkness here. It sucks.
Yes.
Has it not started yet?
Yeah, it probably has already.
Not,
but we're
started yet.
But we're at the point of like, oh man, we're not even at like the 2010 drafting good young fun players. We're at like the 08 stage where like now we've had a couple of years of like, they're trying to win. And now it's the painful realization that like, they're not going to win. We got to trade him.
So they're going to decide Vladdy or they're going to decide Vladdy or not?
Worse than the Oilers have ever been. You have to go back to the Blue Jays. Some probably in the late 90s ish when you had like Delgado on the team. When they were a really, really bad team. That's what they're going to do again.
The only thing fun would be when Roy Halladay pitched and they would win 1-0.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And maybe even before Roy got there, we were like Juan Guzman days.
There's
Al Leiter.
Oh, get cold.
Liam, you're up. Cold Performer of the Week for NationGear.ca.
Cold Performer of the Week. Okay, so this is a bit of a story. So the other day, so people may know, I bought a home in September.
Braggart.
That's it. So I went to do my installation on my garage on New Year's Day. And for people who don't know, your average installation is 16 inches or 24 inches. So the standard building code in Canada is 16 inches for walls in your house, not your garage. I found out the hard way, and maybe I should have measured, but if you can only buy two sizes anyway, it doesn't matter. That my frames in the garage were not 16 inches apart. Instead, they were 18, 17, 17 and a half, 17 and 3/4. One was 19 inches. So I spent my New Year's Day for like 8 hours or something like that. There were some breaks in between that, but the majority of my day was just cutting up insulation and trying to fit it into my walls.
That's a joke. That's an absolute joke is what it is.
They didn't measure twice and cut once, as it were.
They just cut threw it on the wall. The other worst part about it was that one wall was actually measured the same and the other one was not. So one side was like 17 and a half. The other one, like I said, was just these randoms, whatever they wanted to do that day.
I feel that. My cold performer for nationgear.ca, and I'm taking this from Liam because I thought he was actually going to say it. The Oilers schedule is so stupid. Why are we having so many back-to-back weekends and then extended breaks? And then their schedule is dumb and I don't like it. I don't like these breaks between games that they've got. I'd rather them just play every 2 days so I can set my watch to it.
This is the first home game on a Friday or Saturday in quite some time.
They have no other Friday games all month outside of this one.
As someone who runs a business that really leans on home games on big nights, Fridays and Saturdays, it's been terrible.
Well, you want to know something?
Those 2 p.m. games, they don't do nothing for anybody.
Well, you got another Saturday 2 p.m. game at the end of the month.
Do you want to get angry at something else?
Sure.
They only have 2 more Friday home games the rest of the season. One is in February and one is in March.
How?
I'm upset.
Who's doing these schedules?
Morons.
Yep. So there's I'm taking that one from Liam. I don't like the schedule. Let's wrap up the podcast with some positives. Liam, reversing the order. You're up first. Hot performer for nationgear.ca.
I got engaged over the break.
Yes, you did.
That was pretty epic. Thank you very much.
Did she say yes?
Thank goodness. The second time I asked, she said yes. After I chased it down, I was like, please. There's no going back.
I already bought the house.
So yeah, that's pretty good. The planning aside, which I find amazing, not going to be for a while. So
what kind of date we looking at?
Like 2026.
That's not that far.
No,
what do we get
it's not
first?
that close.
GTA 6 or Liam's wedding?
Yep.
So yeah, that's really cool.
Good for you, buddy.
Thank
What
you.
kind of planning?
Well, yesterday I got asked, and I'm very thankful for all this too. I'm not trying to be an asshole about it, but if somebody could arrange our rehearsal dinner, and I literally got sent a menu of what they wanted to do for the rehearsal dinner. I'm like, well, sure.
18 months from now.
Yeah, I don't even know when the wedding is.
But you know what's for dinner. That's what's important.
I do.
Congrats, buddy.
Thank you.
Good for you. That's a very adult thing you've done.
I don't have many more adult things left to do. I've got my installation done. I'm married. Maybe a dog.
Bought a house.
Bought a house.
Une baby.
Retire.
Retire.
That's an adult thing to do.
I'd like to see some little Horbins.
People are gonna think that pause. People are gonna think that pause like means something. No, just no one knew what to say.
No, I wanted to let
We were all
it
just looking
linger.
at him. He didn't have anything to say.
So excited.
About babies. Good for you, man.
All the babies.
When's your baby due?
Babies are due one day.
All right.
Rick, cold performer of the week.
Hot performers.
We're done
Hot
cold.
performers. Sorry, I thought we were on cold.
Go ahead,
Rick.
You know what? Don't take this in the negative, but it's now that the holidays and all this stuff is now over and behind us. It's very fun. It's quite hectic. It's off on the liver. Now that's in the rearview mirror, and I think I'm feeling pretty much okay after our Christmas party the other night. It's nice to get back to a regular scheduled programming.
Nation Dan, hot performer of the week.
I'm just going to take the easy one at the end of the year. It's to all the listeners who've been listening to our podcast for the last 7 freaking years. Insane to me. Oilers Nation Radio listeners get my hot performer of the week.
He's a hot guy. All of you are hot guys and gals. All of you. He's a hot guy. There you go. Thank you very much for listening. It is wild. 7 years, hey?
Crazy.
7 years.
Tyler, hot performer of the week.
The TGL starts on Tuesday. It is professional indoor golf. And I know some people might think it's gimmicky or whatever. I'm in. I think this is going to be
What do you mean
electric.
indoor golf?
So I'll send you the link, BM. People can look it up. It's like, like virtual golf indoors or whatever.
Yeah.
It's that, but they have like some of the best players on the PGA. They got teams of 4.
Yes.
And the green is a real green inside of a stadium. They're going to play it. It's called like SoFi something in LA. The green is a real green that has the ability to morph itself every hole.
Fine.
So every green is unique. It looks sick. Like the captains for the 4 teams are Justin Thomas, Tiger Woods, Rory McIlroy, Colin Morikawa, Ricky Fowler, and Wyndham Clark. The teams are stacked. It's like actually the best golfers in the world. It's going to be on TV every Tuesday night. They'll do a regular season, then a playoffs. I'm in. This
Is
is
it just a one-night event?
one night every week. Tuesday nights are TG all night.
Where?
I think it's on TSN.
No, where do they actually go to?
In LA.
Oh,
Los Angeles.
it's too bad it wasn't in Vegas.
But it looks sick. I don't know. Like the merch seems cool. All of it. I'm so in on this stuff.
The teams are actually awesome.
Yeah. And like
all of them are so
the
good.
picture of the stadium, like, and the guys are all going to be mic'd up and it's a team event. So there'll be like some chirping and like, I just think it'll be sweet.
It'll be
This
like
is-
it's like the match, but like on steroids. I think
Yeah.
it'll be
Yeah.
the Oilers.
And
That's fun.
every week, like again, it's quick. It's only 15 holes. It'll be done super fast. So it'll be like a 2-hour and a week thing where you can just like watch the best golfers in the world go head to head. It's
It'll
sweet.
be, it'll probably be
Yeah.
shorter than like a hockey game, football
Yep.
game, anything like that.
Golf has done a great job of adapting and making itself like present in young people's lives. I think.
Yeah.
Is this both together? Or is it just PGA?
Just PGA.
Yeah. Keep those live golfers away.
People are liking them.
Here's your button, Tyler.
Feeling hot, feeling
Hot performer for me is going to be come on Sunday when the Minnesota Vikings win the NFC North over the over the Detroit Lions. It is going to be wonderful to see the Lions fall to 5th place despite having 14 wins on the season. Shout out to me and nothing to Liam. Thank you.
Wagered.
You want to have a wager?
Yeah. Well, just do it nation.
Hold on for a second though. Have you ponied up the first wager?
Yeah, I did. And I paid interest.
I was going to say, so do you
Hold
want
on.
to do this 4 again?
Sure.
Okay, cool.
Okay, 4 Nation beers.
Yeah. It's going to be a great game. I think the Lions will win, but the funny part about it is the Lions didn't lose on the road all season and both their losses have come at home.
It's going to be a good game.
It's going to be a great game. They're getting some defensive players back. We have one guy, Alex Anzalone, broke his forearm like 3 weeks ago, and he's going to try and come back for this game.
Smart.
But there is,
Sounds
which
like Ricky
is
Bobby.
almost like it's confident and arrogant at the same time. But he's like, was talking to the media the other day. He's like, like I asked the doctor, like, if I injure again, can I be back for the Super Bowl and all this stuff? And he's like, buddy, we got to get into them.
He has a broken arm.
He has forearm, yeah. Like,
What position?
He's a middle linebacker. He's a leading
Oh, yeah.
tackler.
That's
He's probably going to break
That's
again.
it's a bold It's a bold play.
But it's a big game. It's a
kind of
game.
castigating on this thing. I remember there's some videos from like 1980s, man. These guys are wrapped up quite significantly.
Ray Lewis did it once. And he wore just this big plastic thing on his arm. I was like, I think that's quite dangerous.
Is your guy trying deer antler spray?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You got to.
It's going to be great. I can't wait.
It's going to be a fun game. Also, another hot performer to me for winning the Oilers Nation football pool, despite not setting my lineups for the last 3 weeks. I just drafted well. I just put a team together and it dominated all the way through. So another shout out to me.
We the best.
All right, everybody. Let's wrap up the podcast with score prediction tonight. Oilers, Ducks. Liam, what do you got?
I'm going to say 5-2 Oilers.
Rick?
5-1 Edmonton.
4-2 Oilers.
6-1 Oilers.
8-1 Oilers. It's going to be a big night at Rogers Place. Enjoy the game. Have a great weekend. We will be back on Tuesday.
What's up, Nation citizens? If you like that video, then you need to be subscribed to the Oilers Nation YouTube. Podcasts, live shows, exclusive interviews, and analysis. Everything you need from your favorite voices at Oilers Nation. And you don't want to miss any of it, so hammer that subscribe button.